Hey, Hans.
Hey, Jason.
Listen, man, there's something I got to tell you.
What's that?
I'm actually not even left-handed.
Inconceivable, man.
Also, we've got Marek Mis on the show, Buttercup.
Really? The creator of the Google Action Warriors Land, me?
Yeah, the one and the same. Hey, Marek, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me here.
Oh, we're happy to have you here.
Sure.
So, Marek, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Marek. I'm creator of Warriors Land, one of many actions on Google and Alexa skills. I built voice apps of any
That's
sort.
pretty cool.
Very different kinds.
So tell us about Warriors Land. What's that?
So Warriors Land is an action on Google. Voice application available on Google Assistant, and it's an RPG, right? So it's a game. But it's unlike any others. I haven't found any other RPGs developed in this style on Google Assistant.
For anyone who's not familiar with the term RPG, it means role-playing game?
Role-playing game, yeah. So you become a character. You can build your character. You can walk around, usually an open world. And it's an open world. It's actually an island. It's a warrior's land. So yeah, you become a warrior that walks around, tries to find gold, steal gold from other players, tries to build your character with strength, collects weapons, obviously meet other creatures, mythical creatures, sometimes friendly, who can help you and give you some health, give you help and advice, things like that. You can enter many different places around the Warriors Land. You can enter the city, the villages.
And the game is always ongoing, right? That's the cool thing.
Yeah. The game is always on, yes, as I say in the game. So it means basically that if you leave the game, it carries on. So if you stopped in a place which isn't protected, you can be evaded by another player, and that player can steal the gold from you. So next time you enter the game, it may happen that you've lost everything. So it's good to protect yourself and purchase Cloak of Invisibility that protects you for 24 hours, or perhaps enter a city where you are protected from other players.
That's amazing. It's one of the coolest things we've seen so far. What's the inspiration behind this? How did you come up with this idea? Where did the idea come from?
Inspirations. Well, I tend to play with capabilities of Google Assistant. So I'm a creative technologist, and it's my passion really to dig deeper into what's possible, what isn't developed yet. So I basically try to play around with tech. But the other part of inspiration is always it comes from the outer world, outside the tech. So I love fantasy. I love Vikings, the TV series, or Netflix, binge watch it like 3 times already. Stuff like that.
That's amazing.
That's really cool. And then when you so you have all that inspiration of the world you care about. So you understand the technology, you have that fantasy world that you care about so much. Then what was the design process like when you create this and sort of try to merge those things? How did you approach this? Because it's a big, complex game, right? So can you share a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the game consists of many elements actually. The very first element is the map, right? So we need to have a world, actual physical world where everything sits in. So it all began with building a map. And as it turned out, there are really cool online map editors, fantasy editors, that aren't expensive either to use. And you can basically draw that map.
Wait a second. You're saying there's people that their main job in life is to draw online maps of fictional places?
Oh,
there's a whole subreddit called map porn for anyone. It's brilliant. So people just focus on maps. Yeah, it's the whole world.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So their actual job is to create tools for people who create those maps. And that's even that's mind blowing. The way it
The
works,
big requirement for that job is that you're not allowed to have more than 5 real friends. It's a very niche world.
It's also
of
the
nerdy
requirements
people, yeah.
for watching Hans and the Bot Person too, I think. So we share that. There's a lot of
So that was the first element. The second element was to test if I can actually build something. Well, if I can build a character that I can move in 4 directions, right? East, west, north, south. And that was actually easy. So the next thing was to set boundaries so the character can't escape the island and sunk in the sea. So that was also done. So that was the main game mechanics was there. So after that came the characters,
So that first step, how long did that already take? Are we are we a week? Are we in a couple of hours or are we in a couple of weeks? I have no idea really.
I want to say, well, because Warriors Land is my side project, it's not my daily job. So I want to say maybe a couple of evenings to test this out, before making it proper. So yeah, after that, the characters, all these encounters with items, with characters, with different creatures, with different places on the map. So once this proof of concept was created and was validated, I can just move on and start creating the content of the game. So a little bit of the plot. It's not the greatest plot for an RPG game, but at the same time we're talking about voice games, so things have to be relatively simple. And then the last element was to connect the map, the actual physical map, well, physical, digital, but visual, with the voice application. And that's one of the coolest things. Not all players actually want to discover this feature, but it's really great when you have a second screen where you display the map, say on your laptop. You log in with your Google account, and then you talk to your speaker or your smartphone, and you can see the red cross representing your character actually moving on the map, and you navigate with your voice, which is quite cool.
That's
that
multimodal,
really cool,
right?
Yeah.
That's what the definition of multimodal is, right? The ability to use 2 screens or to use 2 devices at once, a voice and a visual device. How did you go about testing this skill?
Test. I want to say, in voice game development, testing is probably like 80%. It takes 80% of your time. So every single line you write in code, you want to test straight away if it sounds all right, if it makes sense from a logic point of view. So yeah, it's just long evenings of testing it. But at the same time, I have to say it's quite exciting to see things come to life. And then once it was rolled out, the first version, when I saw the first users walking around the map, and then me being almost as a god, right? Because I can see everyone. I can see everyone moving. I can put a really nasty creature right next to another player, and I know they're gonna meet them and they're gonna steal them.
That is creepy in a way. That is really cool though. And did you, from this initial experience, the difference between just having the logic there plus the advanced experience with all the sounds, etc. Did you see any difference in how active people were? Like, how much do you have a feel for how much that rich experience contributed to the user experience?
Oh, it's hard to measure. But I've sent this application to some of my friends in voice community, and well, pretty much everyone says that sounds really make a difference. So I know that they're very simple and ambient sounds, but when you enter a village, you hear the noises of the village. You hear the chicken, or ducks somewhere around the pond, stuff like that.
Or the village people.
Yeah. Even testing
singing
here,
YMCA. They were singing in the background YMCA. It's very, you have to put the volume up really high, but you can hear it. So the village people. It's a private joke. It's a terrible one at that. Speaking of getting your friends to test it, I know we've talked about this privately, but how is it difficult to get it discovered? Is discoverability an issue for people? How do they find your skill?
Actually, people discover it organically. So I reckon Google Assistant is suggesting this game to quite big number of people. Over a month, I have around 800 up to 1,000 logged in players, which means they've gone through the step of account creation, and that's probably every fifth person discovering the skill goes as far as creating an account, which is quite a good result, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, organically, I think I tried some advertising. I tried a bit of whispering marketing on social platforms. So all this, I think, contributes a little bit, but not massively. So it lies in the hands of Google, I think.
Depending on Google. So what's next? Is it more focused on discoverability, or what's in the gameplay? How do you see it evolve over time now?
So I launched this game early this year. I think it was first week of January. So I thought, all right, the game is working. I had pretty good feedback, so I thought let's just leave it there and see how it behaves. I get a lot of feedback from players directly in email. They go to the website. They really want to talk to me. There is a guy.
Some dragon stole my gold. That's what they reach out to you for. I want my gold back.
No, usually I award my users with extra gold if they share some good feedback or they share some ideas for improvements. I want to award them somehow, so I give them free gold. But there's also a guy on YouTube who recorded like 2 or 3 videos playing the game for like 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Seriously, he's my best fan, and I'm like, mate, really well done, thank you. So yeah, the plan is to analyze this feedback first, change the game, perhaps make it even more engaging. But at the same time, I'm trying to find potential, well, not customers, I don't want to say customers, but almost a partnership, build a partnership with a brand that could be embedded in the game. So I don't want to just use advertising, I don't want to find a brand that could advertise in a game and that advertisement would become a distraction.
You want a virtual McDonald's in the game. It's like you've been in the battlefild. I'm gonna get a burger. Is that kind of what you're thinking about?
But that would be idiosyncratic. It'd be like you need to have like a wench at a tavern serving you like ales or something, right? I mean, that makes more sense, and you can get just like a sale on ale sale.
Exactly. Well, that wouldn't be allowed because alcohol is not allowed on Google Assistant. Things
really?
like coffee or energy drinks, things like swords of any sort, tools, clothes. Yeah, your sword could be sold.
That's really cool. Money. And then as you have these players, you're going to have more and more players. You're going to have brands involved. So I imagine a big community being built around this game as well over time.
That would be ideal. That would be a dream, There's also a plan to release this game to Alexa. That was always the plan. I just never got that far. And there are other side projects to work on in the meantime. It's busy.
I know a lot of people out there want to create something like this, and what you've done is super ambitious. What advice do you have for people that are now creating a skill? After what you've learned, what would you say to them if they're about to create a skill now?
I want to say think outside the box. Obviously, if someone is just starting their adventure in voice development, obviously you need to learn to code. You need to learn some tools. Maybe you don't need to learn to code, but you need to learn some tools. You need to know how to do it, right? But then you come to a point when you just read the same tutorials, you learn the same things all over again, and you produce the same things all over again. So you'll produce tons of quizzes, and then you flood Alexa skills and Google again with another quiz. Nobody needs another quiz. We're tired of these. So let's think outside the box. Let's build something new. And when you start building something new, you start learning new things as well. And even if you launch this skill or action and it becomes unsuccessful, you're still left with your own learnings, and that's the best thing that you can get.
That's great advice. So it's like learn the basics first from the resources out there, but very much challenge yourself. And if you have a successful game, that's great. If not, you're still winning because you've learned a lot of stuff and you've advanced. You've really pushed the boundaries. That is
Obviously,
really cool.
you know, if I speak from a hobbyist point of view, because I'm not a professional voice application builder. This is not what I do for a living. It's just for fun mainly. So if that's the main reason for that developer to build actions or skills, then yeah, the learning is the goal here.
That's really cool. And if people want to learn more about you, then where do they find you? What can they do? Apparently, if they get feedback on the game, they can get rewarded with gold. So tell people, how do they reach you? What can they do? What can they help you with?
Yeah, so well, I've got a website called vheister. This is my company as well, vheister.com. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Reddit, I'm on Twitter, find me wherever. Warriorsland has its own website as well. There's a contact form, you can always write a message to me. Yeah, or just Google my name, I should probably come up on the first page.
Shouldn't be too hard to reach you. That's wonderful.
I think this has been wonderful. I think, Marek, this is an incredibly ambitious project, and I hope that more developers, voice developers, take your cue and start challenging the status quo of these quizzes, which are so prevalent. So well done, my friend. Well done.
Yeah, it's a great game, and we very much enjoyed it. And it's one that we reference and point to as what's possible, and beyond quizzes. I've never said it that way, but I think that's a great way of looking at it. Like,
awesome.
Move beyond the quiz. Thank you so much for doing this, man. It's a great pleasure having you on. And whatever you launch and big updates, hop on the show and share it with us and our audience. I think everybody will appreciate that.
Certainly will.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Bye, Marek.
Bye.
Wow, that was an amazing episode. I really enjoyed having Marek on the show. What do you think, man?
It was great. I love just the map. It's great to include that and focus on that multimodality. And it's just him. If you look at what he put together, it's really amazing.
Yeah, and that is true, because like we see a lot of these skills that were created by the big players and the big budgets, but this is just a guy, having fun and doing what he loves to do, and I think that's great. And he's pushing the boundaries, and I think that he's showing us what's possible, and I love that.
Yeah, so go beyond your regular quizzes, establish a baseline, push yourself, go beyond the regular quizzes, and before you know it, you create an amazing role-playing game with a multimodal map.
All right, man. Well, this has been the last episode of season 2, Hans. I guess I'll see you next season, man.
Yeah, I'll see you next season. Not sure which network we're going to be on yet, but we're definitely going for it. Be beautiful.
Love you, man.